Yep. Now we're recording. Okay, this is a demonstration of using the qPCR machine. Maureen prefers to use the new one, which is the MX3000, opposed to the old one over there, which is the MX4000.
Okay.
Seems kind of odd that the 3000 is newer than the 4000.
So I spin all the samples down using the little tabletop microfuge.
Yeah.
We don't have this attachment, so I just do it down here. To put the samples in, you roll up this, and then it's very important. It used to break because people would put their samples here, but this is not the plate.
Oh, hold it. So this
right here is just the hot top. So what you do,
that itself is just the hot top. So you lift that, you pull that out.
Pull this out and then pull that up.
Okay, there we go. This is why we do videos. Okay.
Yep. And then just put the samples in. It's really important that when you put the caps on, you make sure they're even and tightly closed. Those are good. And then you put this back on and then push that in.
And the samples are labeled. I mean, are they? It works from 1 to 12, like just a regular 96 well plate in terms of the sample numbering.
Now you can get tubes or plates. I prefer the tubes. I think they're easier to pipette into because you can hold them up. But you could also do a plate if you prefer.
Are you getting those supplies from here or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So the plates are up here. For the old machine, I had bought about a year ago a whole box, so we have tons. So
you mean plates? Plates are the strips.
The strips.
The strips are up here.
For the new machine, I've just been getting them one at a time, one package at a time. So you can see. They're all
are there different between the? Oh, they say which.
The machines are different. Yep, they're labeled, and then so you can get, this is enough for one complete plate.
That's not okay.
So you can get a thing of caps and then a thing of tubes.
Oh, so there's the caps and the tubes are separate.
Yes.
And how do you sign up for when you sign out for them?
There's a sign up sheet, but then also in here is the cyber.
The cyber green is in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So usually when I come get my data, I'll take one of everything so that the next time I'll have it.
Okay.
So the sign out is here.
But that also signs out when your tubes and your reagents?
Yep.
Okay.
So here you write down cyber or whatever. So I usually leave this blank until I come back to get the data, just because this doesn't matter, I can get it now. And then as far as pricing goes, because this does matter, if you do over 50 samples, so it's $1 a sample up to 50 samples, and then it's $50 maximum. So you do get the most for your money if you're doing full plates.
I see.
Which I'm not doing right now, but I usually try to. So now that it's in, we can just log on to the CNR Core.
CNR Core log on. And does that have was there a password in there or no?
Nope.
No password.
And then open MX Pro.
MX Pro.
Yep. And then it'll open this, and you want to click on Cyber Green with Dissociation Curve.
Okay.
And then OK. And so that automatically loads this thermal profile, which is fine. You just leave that be.
No, hold it. But what is that? Is that that's a predetermined one, or?
Yes. Yep. But it matches, since we clicked Cyber Green at the beginning, this matches with the settings that you need for the PCR anyways. And most of my qPCR primers are optimized already for this annealing temperature. Now, if you're doing a quantitative PCR of a chip, those primers have varying annealing temperatures, and so That's in that notebook I showed you.
Right.
So then you might.
So then you have to change the.
You might want to
change the annealing temperature.
You can click on it and it would let you fill it in. And then
and that's the anneal right there, and then the elongation, and then the. Okay.
So this is 40 cycles, and then this is just the dissociation curve for the melting temperature.
Oh, that sets the cycles as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So for the RT qPCR,
where's the cycle number input?
Down here on the x-axis.
It's on the bottom of the. And if you click on that, you could change it if you needed to, or just automatic. Okay. I see.
Okay, so then that's thermal profile setup, which is for RT qPCR, I leave it as is. And so then you can go to the plate setup tab and you select.
You select the wells that you're doing.
Wells, yep. So I'm doing these wells. And then over on the right, you want to go to well type. And you can leave it as blank, but then it's going to try and it'll try and normalize your data and it gets messed up. So if you go to unknown, then it won't do anything to your raw data. So that's what I usually do.
So if you leave it at blank, it's doing some sort of normalization.
If you leave it at blank, it thinks it's a blank and it subtracts them all, and it just.
It's a mess.
You can get it back. It's just.
So you want unknown, is what you.
Want unknown, basically. And then for collecting fluorescence data, we want to collect ROX and Cyber. So ROX is just the background reference stat. So it'll normalize for pipetting error automatically. And so what we do is make sure that you select.
Do you have, are you doing that in the same reaction or in different reactions?
It's in the same reaction. So there's ROX in the Cyber mix.
Okay.
Oops, I didn't mean to click that button. So we want to collect ROX and Cyber, and we want to set ROX as the reference dye, so it'll just normalize the ROX between all of the samples. And if you ever don't see Cyber...
But is the ROX actually a different primer set, or no?
No, ROX is a different fluorescent dye, but it doesn't get intercalated into double-stranded products. So that would just... If you by accidentally pipetted a little more or less master mix into one well, then that would normalize.
I see.
That. If you ever don't see a dye that you're looking for here, there's other options.
Right.
There. Right, so ROX and Cyber, and then just double check over here, it should say unknown, reference, and Cyber. And so once you've done that, and our thermal profile is fine, then you go to Start Run, and we have a folder here. And you can name it. I tend not to because it just has the date on it.
Oh, it just has the date. But you can name it.
But you can name it, yes. And then save. Okay. So here's where it's a little strange, but we want to make sure that we can turn the lamp off at the end of the run. So first I hit cancel.
First you hit cancel.
Then hit turn lamp off at end of run. Then I start it, and then I answer this question.
Then you hit, what did you hit after you canceled?
Cancel, then I hit, you want to click the box turn lamp off.
For some reason it's deciding not to focus all of a sudden.
Turn lamp off at end of run, that's important because we don't want to burn it out.
Okay, yeah, turn lamp off at the end of run down in the bottom right hand corner.
And then you hit start. And then, unless someone has just been on here, it'll say that there's 15 minutes remaining for the lamp warm-up time. Do you want to run now or run after warm-up? I usually hit run after warm-up. It probably doesn't matter because it's not doing much for that first 15 minutes anyways, but unless you're pressed for time, I would just start it after the warm-up.
Okay.
And then you're good to go. If you're ever using the old machine, you want to wait until it actually starts because sometimes it has problems starting.
I see.
That's why
I see what you mean. Till you get the first cycle.
Yeah.
Right.
This one doesn't have.
And now, how long? So, are you going to let this run through tomorrow morning, or how are you doing this? What's the?
Yep. I'm just going to let this run. It's going to take 2 hours 51 minutes plus this 14 minutes. So it takes about 3 hours.
3-hour run.
I signed up till 9 o'clock. I'm not going to get it because I'm not going to run these on a gel. These are primers I've tested a million times, and I know what the dissociation curves should look like, so I can just tell what's in there by that, which is
if that's looking good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yep.
Now, are you pulling? Do you eventually pull it? Well, we can come back in tomorrow. Do you pull the data off of this machine, or is this machine networked? Or do you,
It's not networked.
It's not networked, so you need to have a thumb drive or something.
We can do it again tomorrow, but I can show you. So, you can open another one in a standalone. If one is running when you come in here.
Yep.
And then you can open the old one just to show you. So this is my last run that I did, and to look at the curves you just go to analysis.
Up in the right corner.
Yep, and analysis will change the tabs here, and so then instead of thermal profile you have results. And so here are the curves, and then you can move the threshold up and down. Usually I would move it to here, so it's in the low linear portion.
Yeah.
And then you can, so these curves all look good, they're going to the same height. So then the next thing I usually look at is the dissociation curve. And I have 2 different primer sets. Those look really good and tight. I think these are all J&J 3, so these should all be the same, and they are. And then this is all Actin. So those dissociation curves look like they should. If you see sort of like jagged things here, that's a bad sign, or if you see a whole other peak, that's a bad sign. Anyways, if you wanted to just highlight some things and compare the amplification curves here to get an idea, you can. So I'm going to go back, select them all, and then this is the amplification plots. You can, as you move your cursor over the curves, it'll tell you which sample it is. So sometimes I like to get an idea of whether I'm seeing differences just by doing that. Although sometimes it's hard to tell.
Oh, I should have changed the white balance on this to fluorescent lighting.
No.
Yeah, so it's
do this again.
everything's bluish.
It used to be, well, I guess when I had a PC, I had this program, so I could, as I was analyzing the data, if there's anything funny, I could go back and look at the curves. But it's a PC-only program, so
Right.
I'm going to try to do most.
But I can get it.
Now.
Did you have that? I can get it from them, or do you? I used to have it myself.
I have a disc of the one for the old machine, but this is, even though they look exactly the same, this program is not compatible.
I see. So you need a newer.
Yeah, but I believe they have it. I just never got it.
Okay.
From them.
But I could potentially get it. It's Flax.
Yep.
Now on the CT crosses, how do you? You're not determining that manually, or are you? Does it give you the?
Nope, it'll give it
print?
to you. So once you set your threshold, then you hit text report, and then it'll give you the CT values.
Okay, so it's giving you the CT there.
For each well, it'll give you the threshold, which is the same for all of them, and then the CT value. And to extract that data, you go to File, Export Text Report. This computer does not have Excel, so that one does, but this one doesn't. So I export to text file. And
since it's not networked, you can't log on in your network there.
Nope. So yeah, you have to bring a trunk drive down. And it'll, I don't know why it's telling me. Export text report to text file. It doesn't usually tell you to save it first. Well, anyways, that exported it. Usually it opens it. But,
usually it opens it up after you save it?
Yeah. But, yeah, so then I always bring in jump drive.
Yep.
And do that. Yeah, it is nice to have the program too, because once you're analyzing the data, sometimes things come up.
Right.
So.
Right, absolutely.
And then you can just close out of this when you're done.
So of course, the way this works, you're having to do so you're using Actin or for your internal control?
I'm using Actin.
And those are all in separate tubes?
Yes.
And how many, and you're doing triplicates?
I'm doing triplicates. Ideally, yep. So for example, here's a sample. This isn't very tight, but there's the Actin. There's JNJ83. And so you're subtracting the average CT values of this
from that,
to the Actin, and then you're comparing that change in CT value between samples. So ideally you do both technical triplicates for the pipetting and then also experimental triplicates. But that gets a little...
So you're doing primarily experimental triplicate or...
Yes,
or
yep. Most of the time I'm doing experimental triplicates, and then within each reaction, for each endpoint, I'm trying to do 3 pipetting triplicates because there's some pipetting error.
I see. Because in general, your experimental triplicate, that includes both the pipetting and the experimental errors, right? Because you're doing the pipette in there. So you got the pipette error and you have whatever experimental error.
Yes, although usually my standard deviations just reflect the experimental.
Right, but that includes both.
But it includes both.
The experimental,
yes.
the doing the technical just tells you how good your pipetting
exactly.
is.
Yeah. So I find that's how you get the best data. It's also sometimes better to run all 3 experiments. You can do all the cDNA at the same time. That helps. You'll generally see the same trends, but sometimes absolute fold changes will be different.
Yep.
That error is cut down if you run it all at the same time.
Right.
Even if you lyse the cells on different days. Yeah, so I think that's it.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, so this should start in 6 minutes.
So that will keep going until the time it starts.
Yep.
And this machine starts fairly reliably.
Yes, this machine's been pretty good. If you ever come down and someone's samples are in there, the protocol is to leave them in that fridge right there.
The one on the left or the...
Yeah, the one on the left.
One on the left, okay.
Usually if people are leaving them, they're not concerned about them.
Right.
And I think every week or so they get thrown out.
They get thrown out, okay. All right.
I'm going to get